Testing. Yep. Okay, we're good. All right. Share screen. Okay. Where are we at? Warm up. All right. So it says two values of m satisfy the equation absolute value of 5m minus 11 minus 3m equals 9. What is the result when you multiply these two values together? Okay, so what did you do to solve this? You don't know? You don't remember absolute value? Okay, when you do absolute value, you have to isolate what's inside the bars. So we need to get that by itself. So how do I get rid of that minus 3m? Good, you got to add it to the other side. All right, so I'm going to plus 3m. Okay, so we have 5m minus 11 equals, you could do 9 plus 3m or 3m plus 9. It's not going to matter. Now, from here, when you have absolute value, remember one of your answers is going to be positive, and one of your answers is going to be negative. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take what's inside, I'm going to set it equal to just exactly what it is, 9 plus 3m. And I'm also going to take 5m minus 11 and set it equal to the negative. And you can see by doing that, I just put the negative out in front. So then once you have it there, then you just solve them out. So I'm just going to subtract 3m. 5m minus 3m is 2m. Add 11. That equals 20. Divide by 2. M equals 10. That's one of my answers. Okay. And then for this one over here, the first thing I need to do is distribute. That's going to be negative 9 minus 3m. Start solving. I'm going to add 3m. That gives me 8m. Add 11. 11 and negative 9 give me 2, I believe. Divide by 8. So m equals 1/4 because 2 over 8 simplifies to be 1/4. 1/4 is also 0.25. Okay? Well, they want you to multiply the two values together. So we've got 0.25 times 10. What's that going to give you? 2.5. So your answer is going to be F. Okay, that's your warm-up. If you want to go work while I'm starting this teaching, you can do that, or you can wait. So that's that. We are going to go back to our book and keep working on the vertex. Y'all, that was page 186. So page 186 is where I need you to go. All right. Okay, so yesterday when we were talking about the vertex form, we were discussing the fact that its new way to be written is like this. Who is the vertex? Good. The vertex is going to be the one down here at the bottom, or if it's flipped up, it could be this one at the top. Okay, those are going to be your vertex, and they're going to be labeled HK. It's where your graph changes direction. We're going down, 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 down. All that's down. Then it flattens out, and you're going up, 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 that direction. Okay, or vice versa, up, 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 down, down, down. Okay, so it's where it changes directions. That's where your vertex is going to be. We're on page 186, okay? All right, so what our first goal is with this vertex form is to go from a standard form to the vertex form. So how are we going to do that? Well, here's an example that they've done for you that I can walk you through. What they're doing is they're grouping the first two. So we're not changing anything. We're just putting the first two in a parentheses. So you just group the first two. Whatever the first two may be, group those. Okay? Then you're going to factor out the leading coefficient of the quadratic and the linear terms. Basically, the greatest common factor. What do 3 and negative 12 have in common? Well, they divide and give you 4, but they have 3 is their common factor. So that's why they take out a 3. They take out that 3, and when they take that out, they divide it out. It's like undistributing it. We divide by 3, that leaves us with 1, and you divide that by 3, it leaves you with 4. Okay, so you're taking that out, and you're factoring out the greatest common factor. Then you create a perfect square trinomial. And you do that with the skill that I taught you with the box. Remember, we learned how to do the box? What was the formula that you used to get what goes into the box? Good. B divided by 2 squared. So in this case, B is negative 4. So negative 4 divided by 2 squared. Well, what is negative 4 divided by 2? Negative 2 squared is, which is why they're putting 4 in that box. Now, we can't do, you can't just add something to an equation. Remember, you've learned all the way back, probably before Algebra 1, whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other, okay? You can't just do whatever you want to one side. But since this side over here has the y equals, what we're going to do is we're going to compensate for that, and we're going to take whatever that leading coefficient is, which in this case is 3, and multiply it by whatever we added, which is 4. Okay? Now, you're going to subtract that. I'm going to show you how to do this every single time, but you're subtracting out whatever that leading coefficient is, whatever you factored out, times whatever you added. Okay? That gives us 12. From there, we take this and we rewrite our factors using our perfect square trinomial, and you've got your equation. We're going to do it over and over and over again, and I'm going to show you lots of steps to make it not be hard. Okay? So that's their example. Let's go to the next page, actually just down below, because they give us several to work with. So let's take detailed notes so that you can do this on your own. The first thing that you're going to do is group the first two. Always. You do that every single time. Group the first two. Once you've grouped the first two, then you're looking for the greatest common factor. What do 5 and 40 have in common? The 5. And a lot of times, almost all the time, it's going to be whatever a is. Because remember with your formulas, y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, y equals a x minus h squared plus k. They're the same. Okay, so like 99% of the time, whatever a is, that's what you're going to factor out. So I'm going to take that 5 and put it on the outside. But when you're doing that, you have to undistribute, which means divide. So when we divide 5 by 5, that leaves us with 1, or just x squared. And then what's 40 divided by 5? Okay, plus 8x. Go ahead and put plus a box. And then put minus 5, because that's what you took out, times the box, minus 3. So let's recap what we just did. So we factored out the 5, right? That gives us this area to put this box here. But you have to make sure whatever you do to one side, you do to the other side, okay? So we got this 5 from here. We're always going to be subtracting. That's always the case. But the 5 is what we took out, times the box, whatever we put in the box. The minus 3 is part of the original equation. Now, how do I get what goes into the box? B divided by 2 squared. What is B in this situation? 8. So we've got 8 divided by 2 squared. What's 8 divided by 2? 4. 4 squared is 16 goes in this box and 16 goes in that box. Okay. Now I want to simplify all of this. What is 5 times 16? Okay, so you've got negative 80 minus 3. What's negative 80 minus 3? Negative 83. Okay, that's going to be the end. That's going to be your K. All right. Now, how do I make this trinomial become a binomial like this? Not distribute. You take the square root of the first, what's the square root of x squared? X, and the square root of the last, what's the square root of 16? 4. The plus or minus comes from b. B is plus 8, so we put plus, put your square, bring down your 5, y equals. That's your equation. I'm going to do it again and again and again. We're going to practice several times. And what you'll see is it's the same thing over and over and over again. And if you're still just like, I need it to slow down, I'm recording this lesson. So you're more than welcome to go back and watch the video tonight or tomorrow or whenever you need, because it's going to be the same thing every single time. Now, does everybody have that? Because I'm going to get a clean sheet of paper. I think Lily's still copying back there. You're fine. You're good? You got it? Okay. All right. So now let's look at the next one. First step. What's the first step? Group the first two. Okay. What do negative 4x squared and negative 12x have in common? Good. And you see how it's negative? I still want it to be negative. So just like with the other ones, a is going to stay the same. So we take out that negative 4. When we take out that negative 4, that's going to leave us with x squared. What's negative 12x divided by negative 4? So positive 3x plus a box, close parentheses. Now, outside of that, you have always subtract. This time, what are we subtracting? Negative 4. So do we say minus negative 4? We're going to make that a plus 4 times the box, and then bring down plus 1. Everybody still with me how I set that up? If you can get to that point, you're golden. Okay, that's the hardest part, getting it set up. How do we get what goes into the box? B divided by 2 squared. Who's B? 3 divided by 2 squared. Now, just like before, I don't want the decimal. So we're just going to square top and bottom. What's 3 squared? What's 2 squared? Okay, so you add 9/4. We're going to start here to simplify there. That is something you could type straight into a calculator. If you've got a calculator, you could type that directly into it. When you do this, you've got 4, which is 4 over 1, times 9 over 4. Remember back to middle school when you cross eliminate, you got a 4 up top and a 4 on the bottom. You can cross those out, right? Do you remember that? So really this is just going to be 9 over 1, which what's 9 over 1? So it's just going to be 9 plus 1. What's 9 plus 1? So 10 is going to be your K, which is gone, but I'll put it back up here. So 10 is your K. We got our K. Now we need to make this trinomial become a binomial squared. So what's the square root of x squared? X. What's the square root of 9 over 4? 3 over 2, because the square root of 9 is 3, the square root of 4 is 2. Do we have a plus or a minus in the middle? And how do you know? B is plus. Since B is plus, that's a plus. What number goes in front? -4. So y equals, that's your answer. What do you think? Is that the hardest thing you've ever done? No? Good. Okay, did they give us some more examples? What do they want us to do? Put it in vertex form and then graph. Okay, cool. We can do that. All right. So first step is to put it in vertex form. Okay. Whoops. Sorry. Wrong button. All right. What's my first step to put it in vertex form? Group the first two. What do -2x squared and 4x have in common? 2, but what do we want to take out? Because a is -2, we still want a to be -2. So we take that out. That leaves me with x squared. What's 4 divided by -2? You need to write -2x plus a box. Now what? So, yeah, that's coming up, but let's keep writing it out. Minus, remember you always subtract. It's already negative. That's right. So minus a negative would be plus 2 times the box plus 3. Because 3 is at the end, you keep it at the end. Now we do the box. To get what goes in the box, we do b divided by 2 squared. In this case, what's b? So -2 divided by 2 squared. -2 divided by 2 is -1 squared is, so 1 goes in both of the boxes. Start here. 2 times 1, 2 plus 3. So this is plus 5. Now we need to make the trinomial become a binomial squared. And bring down that -2. That's just going to come down. What is the square root of x squared? x. What's the square root of 1? Do we put a plus or a minus in the middle? This is a minus, so that has to be minus. Then we put y equals. Okay, now they want us to graph it out. So we're going to start with our vertex, which is the h comma k. Now look, let me teach you something. Y equals a x minus h squared plus k. Your formula has minus, okay? So if my vertex is positive 2, 4, my vertex is located at positive 2, 4, my equation is going to say x minus 2 squared. Even though it looks like it's negative, it's not. It's positive. Your equation is the one that has the minus sign. So vice versa, if my vertex is at negative 3, 4, when I plug that in, then I'm going to have x minus negative 3, which is going to be plus 3. So it looks like it's positive, but it's actually negative. So your h is going to be opposite than it appears. So when we look at this equation, what does h look like it's going to be? It looks like it's going to be negative 1, but what is it actually going to be? It's actually going to be at positive 1, comma, where's the k? 5. And k is fine, like it's normal. If k is positive, it's positive. If k is negative, it's negative. The only one that's opposite than it appears is h. So I'm going to plot that point, 1, 5. That is my vertex. Now, how do we get another point? Well, you look at your A. In this case, A is negative 2. So if it's negative, what does that mean about our parabola? Down. Arms are going down. Okay, so our parabola is going to be going down, which means this is going to be the top of the mountain. That's going to be the top of the mountain. Okay, but it's going down 2. That works just like slope with those first next points. Okay, so from this dot, I'm going to go down 2, right 1, down 2, left 1. Now, it doesn't work past that. You can't go like slope. I can't go from this point down to over 1. It doesn't work like that. But it does give you that next set of points. And from that, that's what we're going to use to sketch. It's not a V-graph. Okay, it's a heel. It's a U. So that's just a sketch. Okay, we're just sketching it out. Just extend those lines. That's just going to be just kind of a sketch of it. Now, if we wanted to get more specific, okay, and really like key in and look at some points, what we would do, you guys, is we would make a table. And your table is going to have your vertex smack dab in the middle because it's the middle of your graph. Okay, so we put that vertex right there in the middle. Then we would surround it with a less than, another less than, a greater than, another greater than. So it should look like a number line. So we've got -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. They're in order. We've got some that are less than our vertex, some that are greater than our vertex. Then, to get those values, you just plug them in. So you take that -1, you plug it into your equation. Just like you always do. You take the equation that you got, you plug it in. What's -1 minus 1? What's -2 squared? 4 times -2, so that's -8 plus 5. That's -3. So that's how you get that ordered pair. So -1, -3 is another ordered pair. -1, -3. That's a good ordered pair. Then you can plug in 0. -2, 0 minus 1 squared plus 1. 0 minus 1, -1 squared. -2 times +1, -2 plus 5, +3. So 0, 3. You see, we already got that one. Okay, then we're going to do 2. -2, 2 minus 1 squared plus 5. 2 minus 1, 1. 1 squared. -2 times 1, -2 plus 5, 3. You see how these are the same thing directly around your vertex. This is my vertex. Then those two mirror. What do you think is going to happen with this one? It's going to be -3. And it is. If we plug in 3, we're going to have -2, 3 minus 1 squared plus 5. 3 minus 1 is 2 squared. 4 times -2, -8 plus 5, -3. So then we've got 3, -3. So my sketch wasn't too bad. So now you have 5 points. Yeah, that's not great. But it's not a V. Whatever you do, don't do straight lines. At least have a curve to it so it looks somewhat curved. Okay? So when you're doing this, you get your vertex form, group the first two, take out the greatest common factor, put your box. Then do minus A times the box plus whatever it is, which in this case was 3. Then you start working it out. Questions? You're going to get to practice this tonight. Depending on how practice goes, we'll reevaluate what is next. So let's take a look at your homework assignment so I can decide. Let me look at my key so I can pick out the big ones. 188. Okay, I want you to do 7, 7, and 8. And then for those, it does say talk about the transformation. We didn't do that today. So for what you guys do what we did in class. And tomorrow I'll discuss the transformations with you. So don't sweat that. And then number 10. Oh, those you don't have to graph those. Okay, cool. Do 10 and 12. So just those 4 problems. Practice what we learned today with the vertex. Give it your best shot. Tomorrow we'll go over those, make sure you're understanding, and then we'll move forward. And you'll submit that on Tuesdays, okay? So don't go back to Monday. Monday was just a wash. We're not worried about yesterday. The fire drill got us messed up. So just submit this on Tuesday where it's supposed to be, and we'll keep rocking and rolling. Don't forget that you're going to turn in your bell ringers to me on Thursday, and you're going to wear Christmas outfits for fun. Yeah. All right.